Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative, and I'm here with another stamping idea for you to create a card. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. My information is here. You can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative, and the host code is shown here for the month of April. I'll have this on my work table here, my glass mat. Today I want to play with one of my favorite stamp sets that's now retiring at the end of the month when the new catalog comes out May 1st. Earthen Textures was sold as a stamp set and bundled with the dies, and you're going to see some of the things that I punched out with the dies. It also had a beautiful paper set that came with it, and I'm going to use a couple of papers from that set as well. My goal today is to kind of make a masculine or at least a gender neutral card. You're going to see by the colors and just the style that I'm using is that it's not bright and floral. So let me flip the camera down and let's get started, and I'll show you what I've got started here. I've already had some leftover bits and pieces from other cards that I had punched out. So you see I've got a lot of greenery, and I'm going to use this to make the card. I had punched out this tall, what's considered to be like a tall urn. And then using the smaller die, I have this urn, and this came out of the some of the gorgeous paper that came with that Earthen Elegance paper set. And you can see just by positioning this die in different places, it looks like it was actually dripping glaze. And so I've got that urn to use as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my die cutting first. I'm going to die cut one of these shapes that came out of the Nested Essentials dies because I want to use that on the background. So I will pull my machine over here in just a minute. I also have another pretty piece of paper that came from that Earthen Elegance dies paper set. And so this is very coppery, and you can see I'm using copper clay as my base colors here. So we'll assemble all this later. I do want to go ahead and stamp my sentiment because I'm going to punch it out as well. And I'm using the sentiment silhouettes. Unfortunately, this is retiring too, and I loved this. I now wish I had bought it sooner so that I could have been using it more. Because this lines up and punches out a really cool silhouette of the die. So for right now, I'm going to close my ink until I'm ready to do a little more stamping. I'm going to pull over my embossing machine and do just a little bit of punching and die cutting here. So I'm going to position and make my sandwich. I'm going to do this Nested Essentials die and put my sentiment here with the silhouette around it. Line this up, line that up. I think it looks good. Put the top on and just crank it through. Okay. And now, as it comes out the other side, I will be able to move the machine out of my way. So you see I was using the scrap here, and now I've got two pieces punched out. One's going to be a background, and the other is my sentiment. So I will be ready to start assembling very, very shortly. I will get this out of my way. It just gives me more room to work and more room to see what's going on the camera. Okay, so now I think I'm going to go ahead and stamp what I want to put on the inside before I start assembling. Because I did want to put a little bit of just a hint of color and greenery on the inside. So this time I'm going to use, it's actually Sahara sand. It's a very pale taupey color. And you can see I'm not using white cardstock. Because of all these neutrals, I'm actually using very vanilla. So that's a little bit different too. So I'm going to stamp this urn over here. And I like how that came out because it's not big and bold and in your face, and that's kind of what I was going for. And I'm now taking, unfortunately, this is a retired color too. The soft seafoam, I think that's retired, is a very pale green. And I like this a lot because it's such a gentle color. So now I'm only inking up You can see I positioned it. I don't want all the stem to show here. I could have masked, and I still may do that. Let me just put a piece of paper at the top of my urn here, because if there's any ink on that bottom of these images, I don't want it to transfer. And now I'm just going to stamp. Yes, there we go. Stamp that. So this is the inside of the card, and I'm not going to put a sentiment in there because I'm going to put happy birthday on the front and then just leave room for adding your own personal message. So now I'm going to start assembling from the inside out, and you can tell I cut my card base. I cut this lengthwise, the 8.5 and 11, so that the card opens from the top. So just making it a little bit different, not too unusual here. So now I'm going to dot some glue on and put this inside my card base. There we go. Just enough to hold it. And put that inside. It's just a nice little surprise when you open the card. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my pretty, this is just gorgeous, put this on top. This is kind of the base layer here. And I'm going to make sure I've got glue on here. And then I'll start building my focal point after this. I thought about putting a really dark brown behind it and framing it. And I thought, no, the paper, it stands on its own. It really does pop. So now I want to put, I can't decide if I'm going to center it. I think I'm going to put it just a little off center and really let this be the showcase here. So you see I've got my liquid glue in my hand, so I'm just going to keep using it. A little bit on the edge there to make sure that I don't have it oozing out the side. So it doesn't go end to end, again, so that I can let the paper shine through. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take 2 pieces of greenery. I'm just going to kind of position this first to figure out where I think I want them to go. Here's my urn. I think I do want the urn on the bottom here. And then I'm going to place this one so it's in front. In fact, I'm even going to put dimensionals behind it and pop it up off the page. And then I'm going to put this in there. And then the last step will be to put this, I'm wishing you the happiest of birthdays. Okay, so that's kind of my layout. Now what I'm going to do is start from the bottom up now that I see how I want to assemble this. So I'm going to pull these off. I'm going to leave this here so I know where it's going to go. And then start gluing this back piece. All right. And I want it over to the side and off. Okay. Now this one has a lot of delicate little fronds, and so I'm going to try to put just a little dabs of glue. I don't know if this will be viewable on camera, but little dabs of glue on the ends to hold all those little tips down. I could have pulled out my fine point pen. That would work too, but I think I've got it. And if anything is sticking up when I'm done, I can always put a little glue under it. I think that's going to hold. Okay. Now I will go ahead for this. I may use the seal just to make sure I get a really good adherence over the top here. So again, I do want the stitching to show on the bottom here. Yep, looks like it's just sticking out. And then I'm going to position these like this, and let me grab my dimensionals. So let's pop this urn off the page, but I'm going to leave the plant material behind it, and I will glue that down flat. So right now I'm just positioning. This is going to be in the foreground. Yeah, I don't want that up quite so high. All right, so again, a little bit of glue. Get these tips that are going to be sticking out. Make sure there's just a little bit of glue on there to hold it down. Otherwise, it could pop up. So just for position, yep. And I'll angle that a little bit. So now I'm going to pull the backing off of my dimensionals. And they're just just flying off today. Okay. Yep, like that. And so now I will put my sentiment on. Now the trick is, because I have already pulled that urn up off of the card, I'm going to need to support the end so that it doesn't curve. So I'm going to use the mini dimensionals for this. We do have two sizes. So here, these are nice tiny little dots basically. And so this will help support there. And I'll put some here. Just make sure I've got it on either side. There might be room to put a big one on there to make sure I've got some good strong support here. Yeah, one there. And one more, just so it doesn't show. And then I'm going to pull all those backings off as well. Could have moved that one over a little bit, but I think it'll work. Come on. The last little one doesn't want to come off. Okay. So it's going to cover up part of that glaze, but that's okay. Wishing you the happiest of birthdays. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Winkostella just on this clear part of the glaze to make it look like it's coming off. That is a floppy little corner there. So I'm going to tuck one of these mini dimensionals under there. I felt it when I was putting the Winkostella on. So I'm going to add this very carefully behind that corner. Better. Okay. And so there you have it. I have made, you could call it masculine. Let me flip the camera. You could call it masculine. You could simply call it gender neutral. I mean, this can be for anybody. I love that the colors are just more neutral. There's a little bit of greenery to it. It's kind of earthy, and I love that's why it's called Earthen Textures. And then inside you can write a birthday message, and then there's another vase with some plant material on the inside. So that is my card for today. Stay tuned. Let me give a sneak peek here. I'm going to start working with new products soon, and just to give you a peek, these are the new in colors that are coming as of May 1. So a lot of fun. I'll be showcasing these a little bit more in the next few days. So stay tuned for that. But appreciate you joining me today. Bye-bye.